I Want the Moon, short story of Princess for kids. Today we have a book named I Want the Moon, short story of Princess for kids. I think they're so pretty. I hope you guys really enjoy it. I love it. Please give this video a like if you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Thank you, reading. So, here we go. There was a very beautiful and big city near the sea. The king had a daughter, Lenore. Everything was going well. The king was dreaming of his daughter's golden future. The king wanted Lenore to have all the happiness in the world, and it wasn't that hard because the king had so much money in his treasury that everything could be bought. As soon as Princess Lenore asked for something, the king would immediately present it to the princess. The king was busy with the affairs of his kingdom when he received word that Lenore was in poor health. The king immediately summoned the state doctor. The doctor detected the princess's pulse and saw her tongue, then gave her medicine and said to the king, "No worries, the princess's health will get better soon." The king sat for a long time pressing Lenore's forehead, then went out with a calm mind. He was king of a large kingdom and was always busy. The doctor's medicine had no effect. The princess did not eat, silently looking out of the window lying on her bed. Her face was sad. The king was upset. He asked Lenore, "Daughter, what's the matter? Do you need something that has not been received to date? Tell me, I'll order that right away. No matter where that is in the world." Lenore lay silently for a long time. She was thinking something. She said to his father, "Yes, I want what is seen at night." The king did not understand. He was troubled by the thought. Late at night, he went to Lenore and said, "Daughter, tell me, what is that thing?" Lenore pointed to the moon in the open window and said, "I want the moon." The king stared at the shining moon in the black sky and kept looking for a long time. Then he said to Lenore, "Daughter, I will send for you soon. My ministers and courtiers are very clever. There are more than one scholar and magician in the state. Soon your wish will come true. Now, don't worry and go to sleep." The princess was sure that the moon would find him soon. He closed her eyes, and sleep took him in her lap, but that night the king could not sleep. He wondered how the moon could be brought to earth for his daughter. The king immediately called his minister. The minister was afraid. "Why the king called me in the middle of the night? This has never happened before." The king said, "Minister, the princess needs the moon. Make arrangements to bring it immediately." Hearing this, the minister lost consciousness. He began to think, after all, what kind of demand is this? To this day, he has complied with every request of the king, no matter how difficult and absurd it may be. Frightened, he said, "My lord, it is very difficult to find the moon because it is so far from the earth." To this day, no one has traveled from earth to heaven. Today, for the first time in my life, I have to say that this task is not only difficult, but it is also impossible. The king did not hear a word from anyone. He said angrily, "Stupid, ignorant. Get out of here now and send the wise courtier of the kingdom." The wise courtier had a special position that was respected by all. The minister called the wise courtier and told the wise courtier the whole story. He listened to the king's request and thought for a while. Then he said, "There is nothing on this earth that I did not bring at your request, but the moon floats in the sky. No one has asked for the moon on earth before, then today." The king interrupted him and said, "My daughter needs the moon. His demand must be met at all costs. Your Majesty, the moon is thousands of miles away from the earth. We cannot be brought to earth. Whatever punishment you give me for saying this is acceptable to me, but it is impossible." The king also chased the wise courtier out of the room. He was thinking, is it really true that the moon cannot be brought to earth? Then what is the other way to meet the princess's demand? Suddenly he remembered the mockery of the court. The clown made the king happy with his witty remarks. The king was pleased and often rewarded him. This made the top officials of the state jealous. The clown was really a scholar. The king called the clown. The clown came and greeted the king and stood silent. He knew what the king would say. The king told him what the minister and the wise courtier had said. He said sarcastically, "Sir, they are educated and wise people. What they have said about the moon must be true. It is true that the moon is in the sky, millions of miles away from the earth, but we have to find out what princess thinks about the moon. If we can find out, maybe something will happen." "Wow, I never thought of that," the king said. "I go to the princess and talk about the moon," the clown said sarcastically. The clown went to Princess Lenore. Seeing him, Lenore asked, "Have you brought the moon?" "I haven't brought it yet, but I'll bring it soon," said the clown. Then he said to the princess, "Tell me, how big is the moon?" The princess smiled. Pointing to his fingernail, he said, "The moon is a little shorter than this nail, because when I put my thumb in front of my eyes, the moon disappeared." He smiled sarcastically. He asked, "Tell me, how far will the moon be from here?" The princess pointed to a tree standing outside the window. He said sarcastically, "Tonight I will climb a tree and remove the moon stuck in the branches and bring it to you." "Yes, tell me, what metal is the moon made of?" "The moon is made of gold," Lenore said. The clown went to a goldsmith the next day and asked him to make a small golden moon. He then wrapped a small piece of gold in a chain and gave it to Princess Lenore. The princess put that golden moon in her throat. She was very happy. She got what she needed. The king gave the clown a great reward. The problem was solved, but probably not. The king knew that when the moon shone in the night sky, the princess would realize that the golden moon around her neck was fake and she would get sick again. When the king asked the minister for a solution, he said, "We should make black glasses for the princess. You can tell her that wearing glasses at night is good for her eyes." "Fool!" The king was angry. "If she wears sunglasses at night, she may be injured by a collision with something. That's not right." Now it was the turn of the wise courtier. He suggested, "Your Majesty, we should cover the trees and bushes in front of the princess with a black tent so that the princess cannot even look at the moon in the sky." Then another wise man was called. He said, "Your Majesty, we should have colorful fireworks in front of Princess's window every night. In its brightness and smoke, she will not be able to see the moon properly, and this will solve the problem." Fool! With the sound of fireworks, glow, and smoke, the princess will not be able to sleep and will get very sick. Finally, the king called out to the clown again, because the moon was visible in the sky. "If our wise courtiers cannot find a way to hide the moon, it means that the moon cannot be hidden," he said. "We should ask the princess." The clown went to the princess's room with the king's permission. The princess was watching the moon shining in the sky. At times, she even looked at the sky with a golden moon in front of his eyes. The clown thought for a moment, then said to the princess, "One thing I don't understand." "What?" the princess asked. "That the golden moon is hanging in your throat? Then where did this second moon come from in the sky?" The princess laughed and said, "Yes, you can't understand that much. See, when one of my teeth breaks, a new tooth comes in its place automatically. In the same way, when you bring the moon from the sky to the earth, another new moon has risen in its place. At the moment, the same new moon is shining in the sky." The clown came back to the king and said, "Your Majesty, the problem was solved." Now there was no fear. As per Princess, the old moon of the sky was hanging with a chain around Princess Lenore's neck, and in her place, a new moon rose in the sky. Now the princess was sleeping peacefully. The end. Good job, friends. Thank you so much for reading with me. Bye, I'll see you next time.